Former Vice President Kamala Harris is on a massive media blitz today promoting her book that just dropped. Many critics are comparing it to a Mean Girls burn book. She spares no one, taking aim at friends, fellow Democrats, and even her former boss, former President Joe Biden. She called President Biden's decision to seek re-election recklessness. Quote, "The stakes were simply too high." And then Kamala Harris also addressed major criticism of Biden's decline while in office, admitting at 81, Joe got tired. That's when his age showed in physical and verbal stumbles. Here's how she tried to answer for all of it just this morning.
Do you regret not voicing your opinion in that moment?
Yes, and I actually have reflected on that, and I've written about that. I realized.
Would it have mattered if you did?
I don't know. Was that grace to not bring it up to him, or was it reckless? And on my part, I do reflect on that and feel that there was a recklessness about not raising it with him. I talk about what was going through my head, right? And what was going through my head to not bring it up was that it would come off as being very self-serving and therefore maybe lack the credibility that it deserved. But I do think about it.
Okay, flashback to this. Kamala Harris repeatedly defending Joe Biden's fitness for office.
Are you prepared to be commander-in-chief?
Yes, I am, if necessary. But Joe Biden is going to be fine.
I just don't understand about this age thing with Joe Biden, President Biden.
Let's not get distracted. Let's look at whether we have a president who has actually produced and followed through on his commitments. Joe Biden has done that. That's the measure of the man, not what's on his birth certificate in terms of his age.
Joe Biden is extraordinarily strong.
Kamala Harris also called out some high-profile Democrat friends for slow-rolling their endorsements, according to the book. And again, this is her book. This is where she's saying all this. I know she's on kind of a let me set it straight tour right now, but I think we know what she said. Former President Barack Obama said he's not going to put a finger on the scale right now. That's what she said about him. She needed him, and that's what she said. Former Speaker Nancy Pelosi, quote, "We should have some kind of primary, not an anointment." Now, I remember when Nancy Pelosi said that. Apparently, Kamala Harris will never forget it. And Governor Newsom of California, in a text, said apparently, "Hiking will call you back," and he never returned her phone call. It's worth noting Newsom did endorse Kamala Harris shortly after, but that's not in the book. Selective truth. Power panel now, David Avella, GOPAC chairman, Meghan Hays, former Biden director of message planning. Glad you're here. There's a lot of messaging about your former boss and this former VP. What do you make of when she says about the former president that it was recklessness, leaving it to just an individual's decision? Well, him and Jill Biden.
I think she's entitled to her perspective, right? Everyone else has been writing books.
But she's not entitled to her own truth. So, Meghan, when she says that it was reckless based on what she was witnessing, and then she was also out publicly defending him, those are oppositional. Those two things actually can't exist.
So I just don't think that the book is accomplishing what she thinks it wants to accomplish. I think people, when they are going to look for candidates for 2028, are going to look for people who are leaders, who can speak truth to power. And I'm not sure that parts of this book are really helpful to her. I think having sort of finger pointing at other Democrats also is not helpful, saying you're not going to pick someone because they're gay. That's not really part of the Democratic messaging. So there's a lot of things in this book that are questionable, but I really do wish she'd be using her megaphone to be fighting back against Trump and his economic policies that are not good for Democrats.
She hit him in a bit, and we'll get into that. But her megaphone right now is for those people on our screen. But I want to hit what you just did, and then, David, I'll come to you on this. So Kamala Harris's book has her snubbing Pete Buttigieg as her vice presidential pick, saying that Buttigieg would have been an ideal partner if he were a straight white man. That's what she said. And then she said, but we were already asking a lot of America to accept a woman, a black woman married to a Jewish man. It was too big of a risk. Here's how she attempted to defend that statement.
To say that he couldn't be on the ticket effectively because he was gay is hard to hear.
No, that's not what I said, that he couldn't be on the ticket because he is gay. My point, as I write in the book, is to be a black woman running for president of the United States and as a vice presidential running mate a gay man, with the stakes being so high, it made me very sad, but I also realized it would be a real risk.
Okay, check out all of the media reaction on socials last night. One user said, somewhere in that word salad, she admits the reason was because he was gay. Another, so Kamala Harris discriminated against Pete Buttigieg on the basis of his sexual orientation? Got it. And political commentator Scott Jennings with this. This logic is incoherent. Voters made the right choice. David.
You know, if we all have 15 minutes of fame, Vice President Harris is at 14 minutes and 45 seconds.
Oh,
It is exit stage left here shortly for the former vice president. You know, what she ultimately, no matter how many words she used, she ultimately said she thinks Americans are prejudiced. And they would not vote for her because she was a black woman, or they wouldn't vote for Pete Buttigieg because he was a gay man, and they certainly wouldn't vote for the two of them if they were together. That's what she ultimately thinks of Americans' attitudes. The other thing I think you have to question her judgment, that one of the parts of this book are that the president called her right before and talked all about himself, and she was very upset by that. Now, that you have to question her decision-making. She knows he is now no longer mentally as strong as he once was. She knows he's a terrible debater. The last person she's going to take a call from is Joe Biden?
Wow. Yeah, that's strategy.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get to this. Kamala Harris also took a shot at President Donald Trump.
I always believed that if push came to shove, those titans of industry would be guardrails for our democracy, one by one by one. They have been silent. They have been, yes, I use the word feckless. Right now we are dealing with, as I called him at my speech on the ellipse, a tyrant. We used to compare the strength of our democracy to communist dictators. That's what we're dealing with right now in Donald Trump. At some point, they've got to stand up against a tyrant who is using the federal government to execute his whim and fancy because of a fragile ego.
Where is the salad dressing? But it's clear she hates Trump, David.
It is. I'm keeping a list here. Let's see. Immigration was going to destroy the country. Tariffs were going to destroy the country. One big, beautiful bill was going to destroy the country. All things proven wrong. I've probably missed a few things, but Meghan can help me fill out my list. But all things she predicted
She's
wrong.
a Democrat. She might not want to do that.
To be fair, Trump is upside down in polling in every single one of those issues. So she's not wrong in what the American people view and how they view Donald Trump. I'm just not sure that this book was the best place to do it. She should be out there supporting other Democrats who are actually in the fight to get some of these issues more favorably for Democrats.
Do you want to take that?
She also just endorsed the socialist mayor of New York City.
Yeah, there's that. Would you like to take that?
It wasn't a super strong endorsement, but I do think her point is what works in New York doesn't necessarily work in others, and she was trying to lift up some other mayors there. But I also think that this is where the Democrats have gone wrong, right? They've now she's played into identity politics, which the rest of the country is saying that didn't work for us. Why are you now playing into it?
I think it's worse than that, though. She played into isms.
That's right.
She talked about race. She talked about women. She talked about gay men, right? And she mentioned Jewish, which made me immediately think of Josh Shapiro, Pennsylvania's governor, who just mysteriously did not get chosen. And I would want to ask her now, why did you pick those categories, and who were you specifically talking about? Yeah. Go ahead.
Got to pick Pritzker because he weighs a lot of money. Weighs a lot. I mean, go down the list, right?
Wow.
Another list you can have.
All right. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.